Alright guys, so this is about the last verse. This is going to bother me if I don't talk on it, right? So, with reference to Isla El, or the island of the sun, the house of the sun being America. America is the land of the sign of Cancer, as well as the signs of Scorpio, Libra, and Virgo, right? And in that vein, as I said, an incarnation of Saturn is the one who essentially established America, which literally, America, Ka, it means house, right? Ka means house, or family, or nature of. And Amedi means amber, so America means house of amber. So it's the land of the house of amber, or the land of amber, right? Now, this is America, as I said. This was established by an incarnation of Saturn, like I said. The point being that the various landmasses have rulership according to the celestial bodies, right? In America, prior to me putting together and reconciling and remembering all this other stuff, America, this is dispersed from other people, but I agree with it, is given the astrological rulership over by Saturn. Saturn rules America, especially in a sense. So America is the land of Saturn. It just so happens that Saturn came here and established the civilization of Amber. Now, these people, the man when he came over here, he had dark hair, light skin, dark hair. But the people of Amber had a penchant, let's say, and a special penchant, have a special penchant, as their genetics have diffused far and wide. They have a special penchant for expressing genetic diversity. That's why you see so much genetic diversity among white people as opposed to some of the other races. And then also specifically for red hair, you'll notice if you look at creatures, and this is shout out to Florida for this fact, the most creatures that exhibit red hair and feathering, right, that exhibit red physiological features are concentrated in the Gulf of Mexico, which stands to reason. Because America and Amber are also referred to as the Red Land, or the Root Land. Because these are the people who properly appreciate the root. God being the root of all things, and then there's also other stuff with the root I can go into. But root is red. And then, coincidentally, what do you know? The words for, if you go through all the different languages, you'll see that the words for amber are interchangeable with the words for red and yellow. Red, yellow, orange, gold, these all relate to the concept of amber. And amber, 1-to-1. Amber in Etruscan is glass. Glass. And glass means gray or green or blue, especially gray. It refers to the color of the water as well, especially. Into the sea. Glass. And you'll notice what color are glasses. Glasses are clear, clar. Or clear, or glar. These mean gray. Something's clean, green, gray. Green, yes. Gray, or grade. See, if you just look at like the words for red. So like, gray is Sari, right? And then red is Chervoni, or something along the line. And then, Charne is black. If you know the Slavic languages, it's like Seti is gray. Which Seti is Set or Saturn, so the gray man, the old man, right? Is how Saturn's generally depicted. So yeah, gray, red, green. Essentially, I talked about this before, everything comes back to gray. All the color words especially come back to gray. Did I digress what I was talking about though? America is the land of Saturn, yes. And then what do you have? You go to Europe and you allegedly have all these people. You have the Scots. Scots are Zigots. Yeah, the Scots are the goats. Saturnian people. And you look at Scotland and Ireland. Oh yeah, that's where I was going. So the propensity for red hair of Amberites of Saturn's people. Also, Saturn is the master. So the only master race is the human race, right? But if there were a race of the master would be the race that was descended from that incarnation of Saturn, and who essentially founded the kingdom of the Americas and proliferated same. Which prior to his showing up, prior to that incarnation of Saturn coming, America was known anciently, and even later on down the line as India. And what do you know? India. Ia means land. If you look at different shit, Ia means land, right? So Ind. So the land of the Ind. The land of the end. So Scorpio. The Scorpionic land. Ties in exactly with everything I've been saying. Point being, if there were to be a master race, as in a race of the master, it would be the Saturnian race, or the people descended from Saturn in that sense, so the Amberites. And that incarnation of Saturn was in fact white, as the natural stock of the Amberites. For Saturn and their mother were both white. With everyone having been, I guess, like coppery, brownish colored, prior to the first Ragnarok leading to the people at the pole being bleached white. And then eventually this incarnation of Saturn comes to America. But what I was going to bother me if I didn't say was the fact that America is the land of Saturn, right? And then Tolkien actually even writes about this in LOTR. So Middle Earth, that's his area, right? And people have done work. Shout out to the archivist, he's talked about this, the overlays between maps of Middle Earth and then North America are crazy. And then if you look at it astrologically, you have Taurus, first Earth sign, Capricorn, last Earth sign. And over here, what would this Earth sign be referred to as? The Middle Earth sign. Middle Earth is Virgo, so the land of Virgo. And Virgo, Libra, Scorpio are all one big sign in a sense. So the land of that, which would be America, based on everything I've been saying, because it is the case. Well, you know, Tolkien was on it too. And if you look at the names of his characters, it's all, I was talking about how the names and the people who have the balls to write about this shit, yeah, you can tell by the names they use. I mean, everybody will use these kinds of names for the characters, but it's especially clear in the way that certain people use it. Like Oda, for instance, and then Tolkien for another. Tolkien was a fucking master of this. He was attempting to extend and prolong and proliferate, though in a concealed manner, knowledge of Amber and of the true state of affairs. Oh, the other thing I was talking about. I thought that was going to bother me. So like Nika. This means white. This means white. And you notice since I talked about what it is, I want to talk about Nika in this series. What is he? He's a white. Nika is incredibly white. Yeah. And he's the warrior of liberation. And where is he depicted when he transforms? Like one of the most iconic pictures is of him right in front of the moon. And Nika, right? The maker. The person who Nika is, who is the high priest of the sun and of God. And their champion is Jesus, or Jesus, aka the physical incarnation of the sign of Cancer. Hence why he's in front of the moon, with the moon ruling Cancer. Oh yes, and my point being Cancer. Look at how the word Cancer is spelled. It's spelled Cancer, or conquer. It's literally spelled conquer. So if you want to understand who the various incarnations of this sign are, for starters, you can look to some of the most prolific conquerors in history. For instance, Jesus, the greatest conqueror of all. Other than, of course, God the Father and the Son in the sky. Jesus is the greatest conqueror of all time. That is the only incarnation of Jesus I'm willing to give away, but if you look at conquerors, there are a lot of conquerors in history, but if you look at all the best conquerors in history, the discerning eye is going to be able to probably guess at a few that were also incarnations of the guy who incarnated as a guy known as Jesus. Now about the whole virgin birth aspect. This is referring to going through marriage without going away into nothingness that the anti-existence people want, and that every other creature has to do. Humans, through cycles in time, reach the point where we no longer have to do that. We reached it a while ago. People weren't moving along with that adaptation or evolution, so to speak, because the main theory of evolution is a bunch of garbage. Shit changes over time, obviously. Like I said, so we reached the point where we no longer have to do that. We no longer have to go away into the nothingness. God eventually brought us into his image of being able to, rather than do that, hold the line. If you hold the line, rather than having bastards or bastards, a bastarded person. We know what a bastard is, right? So if you're a bastard, you were bastard into your mother, versus being a true-born, or a godly-born, or a child of immaculate conception, where you're conceived with intention, rather than by a shotgun shot inside your mother. You're conceived via intentionality instead, and preservation and expansion. So this is the Immaculate Conception, born of the Virgin they're talking about, as well as the fact that he was born of Virgo ascendant. This is a very important lens through which to view the zodiac if you want to understand existence. Is understanding the relationship between the zodiac as it's normally viewed, Aries ascendant, and then you have to look at that, frankly, with context all the other ascendants, but especially look at that and then contemplate that with reference to contemplating Virgo ascendant and Scorpio ascendant. And then the boons are essentially never ending. It's the overlays are insane. Yeah, the stuff I want to talk about was Nika, the high priest of the sun and God, is white and is a sign of Cancer and is Jesus Christ. And that's why he's depicted in front of the moon post-transformation and all in white, because he is the sign of Cancer, which the moon rules in Cancer. And the sign of Cancer is a champion of the moon, the sun, and God, and just the people in general. Cancer rules the home, so our home is everything, so he's the man who fights for that, who fights for the conservation and expansion of same versus the expenditure and constriction of same, which is what the anti-existence people who call themselves Jews and the Pope. He calls himself the Pontifex Maximus. The only Pontifex Maximus is Jesus, aka Nika. Alright, it's the only Pontifex Maximus. The bridge. That's the highest bridge, aka the sign of Cancer. That is Jesus, aka Nika, aka the conqueror. This is who God sends in when the anti-existence people, they've gotten away with a little too much. They fuck people a little too hard. And so God needs a cleansing. So he sends in his conqueror. He sends in Jesus to set things right, to send people back in the direction of a more Genesis lifestyle. A more godly lifestyle, because God is our Genesis. So that's why they did a genocide. The so-called Jews did a genocide of Amberite descended farmers who kept passing on oral history. That's who they genocided, not these banker fucking faggots. Okay? The banker faggots were the ones who were in on it with Hitler. They were actually buddy with Hitler and the Pope. You wanna just look at that? Just look at who's buddy with the Pope. Right? Who's buddy with the Pope? Hitler? The bankers? The so-called Jews? All buddy with the Pope. It's funny how that works. It's funny how the whole banker shit relates back to the Pope, and of course the Knights Templar, but especially the Pope, after they got rid of the Knights Templar and essentially co-opted the whole system. And what do you know? The so-called, I would say fake Jews, because there's nothing noble about the people I'm talking about. They hate the noble people. Also, noble, it could be seen as no, don't bull. But the point is, bull means to swell, to swell, right? Bull, right? So, no bull means of the nature of bull. People can see it as, oh no, don't swell. You can see it as don't overswell, I would agree to that, but as far as don't swell, I'd say no, it means swell. People to swell or the sun or expansion, conservation and expansion, noble. They don't blow their load, so to speak. They're noble. No, if you look at Japanese, no means like of the nature of essentially. So with bull, so with swelling. They're the people who are with the sun, with expansion. Noble people are Ardian, right? Let me just pull my nose up. That one quick, actually. That'd be a good thing to talk about quick. Since I have you guys here. Okay, here we go. I'll try to keep it quick. There's just a few different breakdowns of the word Aryan. So Aryan, we have R plus E plus on. So R or all is God. E is the pillar or the erect penis, and then on means son, as in the son, or also son, as in like a child of. Oh yeah, that fucking body from the last video. I was saying Ni means proximity, or also son of. Well, in that vein, I forgot to touch on this part. You know the saying, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Yeah, the progeny does not stray far from the creator. We're not far from God, right? So proximity and offspring, having the word, that means both, but only stand to reason. All right, so the son of the pillar of God essentially would be one reading of it. Another would be R is in all is in God, plus Yan, which means family or house nature, because Yan is four. Yan is four in Japanese, and four is a sign of Cancer, which is the house or the home, or the family. So the family, house, nature of God, Aryan. Also, we have the fact that Aryan can be spelled soft or silent H. If you go looking at enough languages, you'll see this with most of the AR words. So Hardy plus sun is plus sun. So gray slash amber slash divine slash whole or holy sun. This Hardy means amber or crystal or glass. It also means divine or whole or holy or sun. Speaking of God, right? Deus. God is Deus. And Deus and death are the same word. And death is Scorpio, right? The Scorpionic people, the emperors are God's people. Well, Scorpio rules the sex organs and holes and orifices and whatnot. So the people of the whole, right? The whole, think of the two different meanings of whole. And how they both correspond with Scorpio. Whole is in the entirety, and whole is in a opening or a hole. Right? Both of these things relate to Scorpio and to God. Think on that a little. Think about why hollows and holes are so venerated in relationship to Scorpio and God. Alright, so the other thing is, so they're essentially the sons of God or the holy sons. And then you have Ardi, you can read it this way. They're also called the Ardi. So A means first, or all, or God, and Li, or Di, means to do again, or repeat. So Ardi means to do as God did, or does. So from this point we have Ardi, to do as God did, slash does, plus An, meaning son or son of, or one, or of the nature of. So Aryan equals son or son who does as God did, or does, which means to conserve and expand rather than expend and contract. So these are the people of the sign of Scorpio once again. And then I could go on about everything else on this page, but that would probably take me a couple hours. Anything quick? Okay, anyone doubting as far as the gray shit, try this on for size. So Khan means family, right? And then we have Congress, gray family. Gress is Greece or gray, right? Gray family. And then you have the Senet. Sen means son or some or sem. So seed or descendant of, or product of, family of, right? Plus it or eight. This equals 8 or Scorpio or amber or gray. Which also relates back to God and holiness and holes, right? Either way, Congress, Senate, both equal gray, right? And then president, preside, pres, ed, ent. So ent or ant, right, of the nature of, one of, right, or of the family of, right? So ent, like extendant or descendant, ent of the nature of, either way. Pres or gres, right? Press or gress. So gray, right? Ed, eight, ent. So the nature of. So the nature of the gray of the 8th house. And that's the leader of the executive branch. Executive. X and exec relate to Scorpio and 8 and 8ness. It's the executive branch is the president. President. The president one. This is relating him to Deus or God. So Deus, death, Scorpio. And Scorpio is a sign of death and rebirth. So rebirth, this is Scorpio can be seen as the start and end of the zodiac in a sense. And God is where we get our birth and rebirth from. Because God is what? God is unique. This is where you get the word unique, unable to be reproduced. Because they don't have genitals, right? Unique. God is unique. He is unable to be reproduced. There is one. There's not some event that we need to try to reproduce. There is one continual process of growth, which we are a part of, that is unreproducible. If we blow it, then we blow it, and we're fucked. And there's nothing. It is a process of continual growth. Either we can choose to continue to be held by and hold onto God, or we can keep trying to fight against his loving embrace. And if you're determined enough, you can break from sin and get yourself removed from existence. So it's a matter of what we want to do as a people. Do we want to be with God, or do we decide that, everything isn't so great? Because there's a group of people who have decided that everything's not so great, and they want to decide that for you and everyone else too. And they call themselves the Pope and the Church and the so-called Jews, but they really hate the real U's, because J is interchangeable with I and H, so they use their Q's, right? U meaning noble in Greek. And you look at the fact that Jew or you in Japanese is also 10 or teen, which means heavenly or noble, as well as relating to the land of Capricorn, right? The land of Capricorn. So the land of Saturn. So America, and specifically Amber and Mount Culver, which I can literally show you on a map. Roger even literally drew a map. His map of Amber tells you all you need to know. He's a sneaky little motherfucker. Don't let him tell you wrong. He's a sneaky little motherfucker. And he lies his teeth off in interviews like crazy. Or lies his teeth off in interviews like crazy, man. He's a sneaky motherfucker, that Roger. What was I talking about? I don't remember what I was talking about, man. Sorry, I was talking about something else. Amber, Linda, Sun, the Pole, Nigger, Moon, Nika, Saturn, Jesus. I guess I can talk about this. So, you know how I mentioned India, or the land of the end. It also means the land of God, India, so in God, so the land of Scorpio. Scorpio is death, or Deus, is the land of death and rebirth, so the beginning, so God, Deus, death. Easy to go back to and come back from, and then also too, because God is everywhere. This is also God, obviously. But I think people are hopefully picking up what I'm putting down. What was I talking about, though? Oh, India. So, my point being, the India that, when people talk about India with reference to antiquity, they're talking about America, because, for starters, the ancient Greco-Romans and whatnot, essentially most of the history that is related to the era that is referred to as antiquity actually happened here in the Americas. There's a plethora of evidence for the same. Some of the Burrow scale stuff is obviously faked or doctored, but if you look at the Burrow scale stuff, that's pretty good. A lot of the takeaways of the people who work on that are different from mine. They try to say that, it was brought over during the reign of Augustus to America, which I'm not going to say sea travel is impossible between those things, but they have it backwards. The shit happened here, and then the stories got brought over there, and then they took the stuff that happened here, matched it together with some stuff that happened over there, said it all happened over there, and then nothing happened here in the Americas, because they want to hide the existence of the America, or the House of Amber. They want to hide the existence of the House of Amber, the people who are pro-existence, versus from everyone else, because they want everyone to eventually get fed up and quit and turn anti-existence. But yeah, God is good, and God is far too great for them. They have literally no chance of this. They literally signed up to lose, essentially. So fuck them, they're faggots. God bless America. What was I talking about? Oh, India, yes. So the India of antiquity and the Greece of antiquity are in the Americas. For instance, I can tell you where Troy is. The guy who found Troy over there, he found something over there. He was set on finding Troy. Well, he found something. It's not Troy isn't the Troy from the Iliad. Because, yeah, I see Iliad, Trojan War, this all took place in America. These people, being as capable as they were, had colonies over in what we would call Eurasia that eventually proliferated and extended essentially across the whole globe before the empire, but it's not the empire, because empire and amber are the same word, before the anti-existence people struck back, right? And they sacrificed a lot for a series of victories. In battles, though, not in the war. The war is one that's impossible for them to win. They will lose the war in the end by the fact that they are fighting it. Because they are fighting for the side of anti-existence, which by definition cannot actually be successful. As much as I want everyone to success, they cannot actually be successful. But yeah, so the India that Alexander conquered was Florida. The Persia that he conquered, this occurred to me fucking early. The first time I was looking at a map in an elementary school book, I was like, it seems like far more likely, based on the numbers. I mean, just people I'm picturing in my head, this is what I thought back then. Based on the numbers I'm picturing in my head and the scale and everything of this, and the fecundity of these people seemingly in the prosperous, it makes much more sense if a lot of the stuff attributed to antiquity happened in the Americas than it does if it happened over in Eurasia. Especially, for instance, I looked at the word Georgia and I was really like, Georgia? Persia? It's literally the same word as Persia. Fucking blew my mind. I was like fucking 6 years old. Maybe 7. Probably 7. Maybe 6. Either way, I'm like, whoa. In Georgia seems way more like it would be as prosperous as ancient Persia is proffered as being, as we're told ancient Persia was. Georgia seems much more in that vein than the area that we're told ancient Persia was. Georgia has some of the best gold in the world. And shout out to various people for the information on that. I mean, one of the people I've heard talk about that the most is Old World Florida. Either way, Georgia gold is top tier. Georgia, top tier. The whole area, top tier. And if it's much more with what you envision when you first hear about ancient Persia than anything over the Middle East does. It doesn't make sense for all this fecundity to exist in a fucking desert. Okay? I'm not saying there's not fecund areas there. But the point is, the land of fecundity in which this shit happened, in which the pantheon of wonderful, wonderful aspects of Western civilization arose and were spread from, was Amber, and the House of Amber, and their descendants in the Americas. And you follow the Gulf Stream, and where would they have ended up? When they fled? When they left that place? Flood era, easily could have ended up Mount Ararat. That lines right the fuck up. And you see people with horses and all this other shit pop up in that area out of nowhere. Seemingly out of thin air. I don't know, maybe rather than going around in a circle and then end up at the same spot they left from, they came from America to there. Maybe when Amber was sunk down the line. As in Amber proper, as in Greater Amber would encompass all the Americas, but Amber proper would be off the coast of Florida and is now in the Gulf. But yeah, that America is the land of fecundity. The stuff of antiquity occurred. Not over there. Oh yeah, and the point being, they would have followed Gulf Stream. Where do you end up? You end up in Ireland. Ireland, the Irish were the original high priests of all of Europe and proliferated this culture through all of Europe. Look at Conor McDarby. These people came from Amber. That's the angle. I'm charging the phone and I don't have much space left on it, but this is seemingly going to evolve into an endless series of videos of me touching on shit that I didn't touch on fully because I got off track in the previous videos. But to digress, I forgot what I was gonna say. Either way, as far as the genocide stuff, look at the word gen. Gen means family. Gen or gentle means family, and then you have uls. Uls or as means eight, right? And then eid also means eight, but also means like to do again or to proliferate, which is what eight is symbolic of. So, gen uls eid, gen uls eid. So the family of Set are the people who proliferate scorpionicness or eightness, or aka continuing the process of continual growth, versus choosing expenditure, contraction, consumption, and nothingness. And then when all these so-called Jews with their buddy the Pope and their buddy Hitler, all these anti-existence vagues work together to kill a bunch of farmers, right? We're probably speaking Arabic, or dialects the same. Regardless, they call this the Holocaust. The Holocaust. We know what a cost is, to accost or to hassle, right? Well, what is Hol? Hol means gray, or whole, so Scorpio. So Scorpionic people are the grays. Right? So they're literally saying, yes, we accosted our enemy, the Scorpionic people, the holes, the grays. We accosted these people. That's what they're saying. And they're saying, ha 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 ha, but this actually, we're the ones who were accosted. Wink, 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 when they're the ones who actually did the accosting. They had a bunch of people to do their grunt work for them, and then pretended that they were the ones that those people assaulted, essentially. Yeah. You just literally have to look at the words. And then, what do you know as far as the people of Saturn being from Americas and proliferating? And, oh yeah, I was talking about from Ireland, right? So they proliferated from Ireland, the priests of Ireland, through Europe, right? And then you also have these people called the Scythians, or the people of the Scythe, Saturn, right? The Latins are the people of Saturn. And you had Latin colonies from the Americas into Europe and Italy, aka the Etruscans, Etrush. So, 8, light, con. So the people of the light of the 8th house. Okay, I remember the point that the video before this, most recent one I recorded, I was recording sitting here. The point in the video before that I was getting is Tanakh is all over. I mean, and look at that name. That name is a pseudonym, right? But it's chock full of the gray stuff I'm talking about, and the amber stuff I'm talking about. For instance, Tari means Virgo. It means the bird, which means Virgo. And Tari is the language. I mean, now we have Shalta Tari in its current states of more recent modern history, which who knows how that all fits in as far as languages and whatnot. But Tari relates to amber. And Tardy was allegedly, this could be a crack, but I see some evidence for saying as I've looked into it and contemplated on some of the words in Sam and words in other languages. Tardy was allegedly the language of amber and of the courts before them, which would be held in North Pole. Where I was going was Encounter McDarry is all over this. The Irish proliferated through their priesthood, they proliferated goodness and essentially what we would consider the best parts of Western culture, which the anti-existence people have been trying to erode away for a long time now because of how strong they are. These pillars of culture were proliferated to Ireland from amber. Amber, essentially, people left amber. A large wave of these people ended up in Ireland naturally. They followed the Gulf Stream, ended up in Ireland. Established themselves, thence, whatever. They established themselves there. Thence, I feel it, would be the word. But either way, they established themselves in that area. And from there, proliferated their wonderful teachings through Eurasia and the rest of the world. Yeah. The point being, Ireland is under the Ida, or the ID, or the AD, so the Adians, or the aliens, the foreigners, the people who came from across the Atlantic. Like the Atlantic is the Sea of Atlant, right? You go across the sea, you get to Atlant, right? From the Eurasian perspective. The point being, you have the Irish and the Etruscans, the people who randomly showed up, Mount Ararat, thin air. All these people come with names, common names that refer to Saturn, and all the cultures that proliferate from them have names that relate to Saturn. And the number 8, Scorpio through Virgo, that's because that's where these people came from, and Saturn was their founding ancestor for the break-off point from the original line of Bach to Bach's true heirs, that being the House of Amber, occurred when that incarnation of Saturn left Helsinki, the original pole, before the Ragnarok caused the pole shift. And go into what caused that at some point. But because even the Bach side doesn't have to profit that, just like they try to say all the records for America are lost, I'm not putting that on Eeyore. Somewhere along the way, that information was probably, or even if maybe it was never even part of the saga because they don't want to teach that part. But it's self-evident. Either way, yeah, I can go into why Ragnarok happened, but just to touch why I'm on this topic before I get off track again. So why did that incarnation of Saturn who left? Why did he call it Amber? What would cause him to call it Amber? Well, Ambla was the word that the people in hell, the first people at the North Pole, used to describe the fluid that went from Appa, the monkey, into the goat who mothered Freya and Freya. So the father's fluids, right? Those warm fluids of life, right, from Appa, was called Ambla. So Ambla, or Amber, yes. And what did Dworkin, God damn it, I said his name. What did that incarnation of Saturn, I said his Dworkin, or Vulcan, since Vulcan is in Saturn and the Force God, right? But to digress, he followed the Gulf Stream, the stream of Ambla, a stream of Ambla. He named the place he found after the means by which he found it, a stream that was like unto the nature of the Ambra, the warm, life-giving fluids that Appa ejected inside of the goat to have fire and fire from whence we all come. So, yeah, that's why it's called amber. To be clear, as far as the amber stuff, I realized I haven't myself clearing any of that. Like Tolkien and Oda, Roger, who I don't know if I should say who he is incarnations of or not, but Roger, as in Roger Zelazny, wrote the Great Book of Amber, right? And what he essentially did is he baked a lot of this stuff in. He was as ballsy and upfront with it as you can be, but he hid it under a veil of sci-fi and added a bunch of sci-fi sci-fi elements to essentially cover his tracks. He put a bunch of truth mixed in with a bunch of fiction and gave it out to the people so as to like Tolkien, who I don't know if I already said who he's an incarnation of, but I'll leave that unsaid as well for now. No sense giving out people's identities unless there's actually a reason for saying. I'm not just gonna get it out there for some random fucker to hear. And if people want to know, then I don't think these people would have issues with me saying. Otherwise, I don't know why they would. Why would it become known to me? But I'm not gonna give it out for no reason. Either way, Roger covered his tracks quite well as far as adding a bunch of science fiction stuff and fucking with the timeline. Essentially, he majorly elongated the timeline and added a bunch of time dilation elements and stuff to attempt to obfuscate what he's actually talking about, as well as some other stuff he did to do same. But yeah. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater on account of that stuff. If you are listening to any of this, or if you've read Amber and are contemplating it and have naturally reached similar conclusions, which I think is entirely possible. I know why he's helping me specifically in a sense, but I don't view it as impossible. Other people who come to these same conclusions. I mean, more evidence for saying is the secret society faggots aside. There's people like Oda and like Tolkien who talk about this shit, who rather they remembered it and reconciled it like I do, or like I have been doing it. Or they come to it some other sort of way. They tried to proliferate it with good intentions, this knowledge. And Roger did the same. He did it arguably the ballsiest of anyone. I would say the ballsiest of anyone, which is in character for who he is. Either way, God bless Roger Zelazny and God bless you guys. God bless America.